Illinois until Mayor Tiffany Henyard stepped up to the microphone alone. No trustees, no quorum, just her and a stage. What followed was not a formal proceeding. It was a one-woman performance, a fiery rant, not directed at the board, but at the thinning crowd, and more critically, the cameras. "This is not a Q&A," she snapped. "This is me giving my statement." And with that, Dalton's strange political circus had found its main act. But that was just the beginning. Behind the curtain, tensions were already boiling. Was not just dodging controversy this time, she was facing a threat from inside her own camp. And the biggest hit, it was not delivered by the media or watchdogs. It came from someone within. A video, allegedly leaked by her own insiders, started making waves online. Some are calling it the ultimate betrayal of 2025. Others say it is long overdue karma. No matter what you think, one thing is certain: this plot twist shook her administration to the core, and things were just heating up. Sound off in the comments. Did you see this coming? From handpicking a new village administrator and attorney with no vote to dragging in her personal lawyer to berate an absent board during a canceled meeting, Tiffany's leadership has gone from bold to completely unhinged. It looks like she is spiraling, grasping at power as it slips through her fingers. Think that is dramatic? Hold on tight. As Henyard's control begins to crumble, the Illinois Attorney General has entered the scene. Quam Rule's office found Dalton in violation of the Open Meetings Act not once, but twice under Tiffany's direction. The reason: the village hall turned into a locked fortress, doors shut, seats restricted, and the public turned away. Her excuse: a hand-scrawled note in blue marker calling her and her mother losers. Yes, blue marker. And here is the wild part: the letter appeared after the meeting had already ended. The Attorney General's team was not fooled. They labeled it an extreme and unjustified response. But that sums up Henyard's entire leadership style: over the top, erratic, and costly. Speaking of costly, get ready. After months of resistance, investigators finally obtained her township credit card statements. The total, a staggering $67,000 in travel costs over just 5 months. And that is just the township portion. Add in Dalton's spending, and the number rockets past $100,000, all filed under conference travel. We are talking about first-class flights and luxury hotels. Apparently, Tiffany's version of public service. Then there is Keith Freeman, her former right-hand Mantha, one who knew it all. When she suspected he was working with federal agents, she rushed to terminate him. But here is the catch: the board never approved it. So while Tiffany replaced staff with her own picks, Freeman was still officially the village administrator, still inside, still watching, still a threat. Word on the street: Keith has receipts, hard proof that cannot be hidden. Some say he has already flipped, cutting a deal with investigators, which might explain Tiffany's desperate attempt to get rid of him. But, as usual, her plan failed. Imagine being Keith Wood: you stay silent. But here is the twist: he is no angel either. Freeman faces charges of bankruptcy fraud and targeting staff who refused to play Tiffany's game. And instead of shielding him, she dumped him. A textbook survival tactic, but this one backfired hard. The moment she turned on him, he retaliated. Now, lawsuits are piling up. One worker says she was fired for refusing to be a puppet. Another accuses Tiffany of intentionally sabotaging his business license out of spite. And then comes Dwayne Thrash, the former maintenance manager. He claims he was pushed out after he declined to help replace a school board attorney with someone more compliant. Now he is suing for wrongful termination and constitutional rights violations. Do you see the pattern forming? Tiffany's time in office has turned Dalton into a non-stop loop of lawsuits and scandals. Every few weeks, a new betrayal, a new mess. And now the residents, they are fed up, including a surprise voice, Carmen Carroll. Carroll, once one of Tiffany's staunchest allies on the Thornton Township Board, broke ranks in dramatic fashion. "I am speaking out," she declared, "because I believe Henyard has engaged in unethical and predatory behavior." She did not tiptoe around it. She went public, loud and clear, and she did not stop there. Carroll alleged Tiffany manipulated staff, contractors, and even citizens just to uphold a fake image of success. A facade funded by the same taxpayers who are now demanding answers, and honestly, she might be right because Tiffany's own words are now working against her. In a recent tirade, Henyard said, "That is what all the hate is about. Your supermayor became too powerful too fast. It would be funny if it were not so disturbing." What do you think? Does she truly believe her own hype? Here is where it gets wild. Tiffany did not just deny Carl's accusations. She ridiculed her, she gave her the nickname Lion Carl, and brushed off the bombshell like it was teenage gossip. But in doing so, she revealed more than she concealed. In the meetings, behind the scenes, Carol even shared a moment where Tiffany pressured her to lie to cover up a shady foundation, trying to blame it on someone else. Carmen refused. That moment changed everything. One staffer says she got canned for rejecting cover-ups. Another says Tiffany blocked his license out of personal revenge. And Dwayne Thrasky says he was forced out for refusing to play her political games. He is now suing for wrongful termination and civil rights abuse. The signs are all there. Henyard's administration has become a non-stop legal circus, a scandal carousel that keeps on spinning. And instead of cleaning house, all we see is distraction, excuses. More chaos, but the most devastating blow did not arrive via headlines or court documents. It came from deep within her own circle. Carmen Carroll, once one of Tiffany Henyard's most loyal allies, is now openly opposing her. Carmen did not mince words. "I am speaking out because I believe Henyard has acted unethically and preyed on others." Her allegation that Tiffany bent the rules of leadership to manufacture a facade of success while everyday citizens paid the price. And now, the whispers in Dalton have turned into a roar. During a recent board meeting, as Tiffany launched into another combative speech, a resident broke the silence with a piercing accusation. "We all know you are robbing us." The room froze. Tiffany, unfazed, kept going. She leaned deeper into her fantasy, insisting she was chosen by a higher power and proclaiming her rarity. It was like watching someone cling to a delusion that had long since died. This was not courage. This was delusion on full display. So where does it all stand now? Federal agencies have zoomed in on Dalton like a laser. Lawsuits are piling up like unpaid bills. Former allies are defecting. Insiders are talking, and the townspeople, they are not quiet anymore. But despite all this, Tiffany clings to her podium, her persona, her fantasy, hoping the spectacle still hides the collapse. But the truth has broken out of its cage. The curtain has lifted, and no spin, no superhero branding, no finger-pointing can undo the damage. Henyard's reign was built on flash and fear, but it is unraveling now, betrayal by betrayal. Let me hear from you. Do you believe this is Tiffany Henyard's final act, or is there an even bigger twist ahead? And just so you know, I am officially announcing my candidacy for mayor of Dalton this coming February. A storm is building and someone has to start cleaning, or at the very least, stop the next disaster from being buried. Everything changed during what started as an uneventful Tuesday in Dalton, Illinois. A standard board meeting took a surreal turn when Tiffany Henyard showed up alone. No trustees, no quorum, just Tiffany and a microphone. What unfolded was not leadership, it was performance, not governance, but stagecraft. She looked straight into the camera, not the people, and announced, "This is not a Q&A. This is me giving my statement." Just like that, the ordinary became theater. And this, it was just the opening act. Behind the curtain, chaos brewed. Henyard was not merely fending off bad press, she was being attacked from within. The most shocking hit did not come from the media or watchdog groups. It was a leak from her own team. A video, allegedly released by one of her inner circle, went viral. Some labeled it the biggest betrayal of 2025. Others called it poetic justice. Regardless, it shattered her political machine, and it was just the first shot. Did you see this coming? Drop your reaction below. From overriding the board to install her own village attorney and administrator, to ambushing trustees with her private lawyer during a canceled meeting, Tiffany's moves have grown more chaotic, more reckless by the day. It feels like she is desperately clutching at power, even as it slips through her fingers like sand in a storm. And if you think that sounds extreme, hold on. The Illinois Attorney General has now stepped in. Kwame Raoul's office confirmed Dalton violated the Open Meetings Act twice, in June and July. Because under Henyard's rule, Village Hall resembled a fortress, locked doors, limited seats, residents blocked out the justification. A crude letter in blue marker insulting her and her mother. Yes, blue marker. That triggered the lockdown. And here's the twist. The letter arrived after the meetings ended. The Attorney General was not fooled. Their report called the lockdown an over-the-top reaction paranoia in its rawest form. And that pretty much defines Henyard's leadership. Overreaction, overreach, and overspending. Every time she is criticized, she does not reflect, she retaliates. She isolates herself, spends aggressively, and clamps down instead of facing facts. And now, let us talk about the money. Investigators finally gained access to her township credit card records, and what they found was staggering. In just 5 months, Henyard racked up $67,000 in travel expenses for the township alone. Combine that with Village of Dalton charges, and the total exceeds $100,000. Her excuse, conferences, but really, does public service require 5-star hotels and first-class tickets? Now let us shine the spotlight on Keith Freeman, Tiffany Henyard's once trusted right-hand man. He was in the know every deal, every move. But when Tiffany suspected he might be collaborating with the feds, she tried to cut him off. The problem? The board never signed off on his termination. So even while Tiffany made questionable new hires, Keith still technically held his title. That meant one thing: access. And word on the street. He has got the proof. The kind that does not need an explanation. But do not paint Freeman as some noble whistleblower. He is facing serious heat himself for bankruptcy, fraud, retaliation, and a long list of complaints. Still, the same Henyard who once shielded him turned on him in an instant, threw him under the bus. A textbook political backstab, but it backfired. Big time. The betrayal was the final straw. Freeman flipped the script. Now 3 lawsuits are hammering her administration, each adding weight to the growing image of dysfunction, secrecy, and corruption. And perhaps the most disturbing part, Carmen might be telling the truth, after all, because Henyard's own words are beginning to say more than she probably meant. At one of her most erratic public speeches, she boldly claimed, "That's what all the hate is about. Your supermayor became too powerful too quick." It sounds outrageous until you realize this is not just ego. It is a window into someone slipping from reality. So the real question, does she truly believe this narrative? Or is she trying to convince herself? And here's where things reach peak absurdity. Tiffany did not just deny Carmen's claims, she laughed them off. She mocked her with the nickname Lion Carl, brushing it all off as petty drama. But that moment revealed something deeper. Carmen was once on the inside. She knew the script, heard the secrets, even got asked to lie about a shady foundation cover-up, and she refused. That one act, it cracked the whole machine wide open. Dalton's silence, it is broken. People are done whispering. During a recent village meeting, right in the middle of one of Tiffany's aggressive speeches, a resident stood up and declared, "The people already know you're stealing from them." The air was thick with tension, but Tiffany did not back down. She doubled down, claimed divine favor, called herself rare and unique. It felt less like governance and more like theater played to an audience that no longer cared to clap. This is not leadership, is a public collapse in slow motion. So where do things stand now? We are in the center of a political meltdown. Federal eyes on Dalton, lawsuits stacking up, allies turning enemies, and insiders leaking the dirt. Meanwhile, the public has reached a boiling point. They are wide awake, furious, and demanding the truth. And still, Henyard clings to her platform, her image, her fantasy, convinced the camera will protect her from the consequences. But the damage, it is done. The curtain has been pulled back. No amount of spin can bury this story again. No supermayor slogan, no choreographed press conferences, no fall guys can erase what has already surfaced. Tiffany Henyard's empire was built on control, fear, and illusion. But now, that illusion is collapsing, brought down by her own betrayal, one crack at a time. So now the question is, are we witnessing the final act in the Tiffany Henyard saga? Or is the biggest twist still waiting in the wings? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this breakdown revealed what is really going on behind the scenes, make sure to like, subscribe, and stick around. Because this drama, it is nowhere near over.